What's going on, guys? Austin Zaback here with another YouTube video, and in this YouTube video I'm going to be talking about why wholesaling real estate is going to be something that if you're not already doing, you're going to want to start doing in 2021, or basically just right away. So if you're brand new to my channel, I really appreciate you joining me. I'm typically talking about real estate, the stock market, pretty much everything money related, but there's something that I've been doing for about 6 or 7 years now that I'm not going to lie to you, it's something that I don't see a lot of people doing. I don't really know why, and there's not a ton of people talking about it, and that is obviously wholesaling real estate. Now, I don't know why this is. I don't know why more people don't talk about it. I guess there's like a decent amount of people that talk about it, but I feel like there's a lot more people that talk about like buying rental properties, they're buying Airbnb properties, they're like flipping properties. You know, you see all the shows out there like HGTV. I mean, everybody's talking about it, right? Like Chip and Joanna Gaines and like Tarek El Moussa and there's all these shows that preach like flipping real estate, and there's these, and you know, you've got all these bigger guys that talk about like just buying rental properties, and I think all that's amazing, by the way. I do a lot of that, right? We're buying rental properties, we're buying Airbnb properties, but one of the biggest things that we're doing, and that we've been doing for quite a while now, is wholesaling real estate, right? Wholesaling houses. So look, if you're familiar with what it is, then obviously, you know, just stay tuned, okay? Stay to the end of the video and listen to my thought as to why I think 2021 will be one of the best years for wholesaling real estate. And obviously, if you don't know what wholesaling is, it's basically just the art form of getting a property under contract with a seller, typically a motivated seller, a distressed seller of some sort, right? And we'll talk about that here more in just a minute, but you're getting it under contract below market value, and then you're essentially just taking that contract and you're actually just assigning the contract to a cash buyer for a little bit of a profit. You're just creating a little bit of arbitrage between what you got that for with the seller and what you can sell it to the buyer for. Also, by the way, if you wouldn't mind just doing me a massive favor and just smashing that like button for the YouTube algorithm, I would really appreciate it. If you're brand new, just consider subscribing, but let's just go ahead and jump into it. So I've made a lot of videos recently talking about the real estate market, right? And obviously 2020 has just been a crazy year for everybody. Nobody could have ever predicted 2020, I feel like, in a million years. So, you know, we saw back in March and April of 2020, maybe a little bit of May, but March and April, where, you know, the market was trending upwards, right? We were expected to probably have a bigger year in 2020 with the real estate market than in 2019. And people have been talking about like a real estate crash for some time now, okay? I've been hearing it for at least a couple of years now. I feel like I always go sit through like classes and stuff. I'm actually a real estate agent as well, and people would be talking about this, right? But we hadn't seen anything yet, and if anything, they just kept cutting interest rates, making interest rates lower, causing demand obviously to go up. You had a lot of first-time home buyers getting into the market, a lot of millennials buying homes, Gen Z, you know, I think Gen Z, right? The people right after millennials. I think, like, technically I'm a millennial, I think. So I'm a millennial, and then whatever generation is like right under me, okay? You know, these massive amounts of people getting into the market to buy a home with the low interest rates. Obviously, demand has just been really high, right? But then come the pandemic, supply pretty much just came to a screeching halt, right? No sellers wanted to sell. And then kind of finishing the year out, supply still has not caught up with demand. I feel like demand, you know, really took a V-shaped recovery, and supply obviously kind of took a little bit of a U-shaped recovery and then kind of like leveled off. And sellers, for whatever reason, still aren't selling at the rate that they should or need to, I guess, to keep up with the demand. So anyways, not to go down too much of a rabbit hole, but there's a lot of people in forbearance right now. Basically, there's a lot of people right now that haven't been able to pay their mortgage, right? And we're seeing that. There's statistics of that. There's millions of people in forbearance. There's millions of people that are facing an eviction. We saw with the CARES Act that basically people can't get evicted. You know, back in September, they did basically an eviction moratorium. There was also a forbearance. You know, basically it prevented people, the government prevented people from evicting or foreclosing on people until, we'll see, okay, but in theory, until 2021. Now, there's been a lot of rumor and talk about that getting extended. Nobody really knows, but here's what I personally think. I personally think that a lot of people in 2021 will end up getting foreclosed on, and they will end up getting evicted. And I just think overall, supply is going to go up at some point, right? Supply has to go up a little bit, even if it just goes up a little bit. What is going to happen, and obviously you still have a lot of people unemployed. You know, you have like 11 million people are unemployed right now. What I personally think is that it is going to be a phenomenal opportunity for people that have wanted to get into real estate investing to go ahead and get into real estate investing. Look, there's like this devil's advocate of like, obviously you don't want, people to get foreclosed on. You don't want people to lose their job. You don't want any of this junk to happen. I don't want it to happen. You don't want it to happen, but it does happen, and it is a part of life. It is a part of the financial cycle. And so anybody that has ever thought about getting into real estate investing, look, here's an industry, wholesaling, where you can market to these people that are in distressed situations, and you can create a potential win-win scenario. Now, a lot of people maybe talk badly about wholesalers because wholesalers can get a bad reputation for taking advantage of people. They can lowball a seller at such a low price that ultimately the seller has no other choice, but the wholesaler probably could have paid a little bit more money, but they're just getting greedy. And then they're offering it to the buyer at such a high price that there's hardly any money to make anymore once the buyer goes in and either renovates the property to keep it as a rental property or ultimately flips the property and puts it back on the market, okay? So, but for the most part, you can be a really, really, really good wholesaler by just ultimately creating win-win scenarios. So all that really means is it means marketing to these people that are in foreclosure, they're in forbearance, they're in pre-foreclosure, maybe they defaulted on their taxes, maybe they inherited a property. There's so many different reasons why these sellers in my opinion, in 2021 and 2022, there's gonna be a lot more distress, I believe, than we've seen in a long time. And the more distress that there is, the more opportunity there is for investors to come in and to create a win-win scenario by making a cash offer to buy the property, right? So they're not worrying about paying a realtor. Now I get it, I'm a realtor, like I would love, but that's not the point, right? The point is, a lot of people aren't going to sell with a realtor because it doesn't make any sense, right? It doesn't make any sense to sell with a realtor. They need cash, they need to sell as is, they need to sell quickly. Most of the time their house probably isn't even going to pass an appraisal or an inspection or anything like that. So cash is probably the only way they can go. Now you can get into the wholesaling industry, market and target these individuals, right? And I've got multiple ways to do that. I'll link some different things down below, some different tools that I've used for many, many years and how we consistently do probably 20 or 30 wholesale deals a month on top of, our rental properties and everything like that. But look, you can market to these people, create a win-win scenario, give them a cash offer below market value, and then you can turn around and you can sell that contract. I mean, basically, right? You're assigning the contract to a cash buyer, to a flipper, to a landlord for a little bit of a profit. Now, don't get greedy. Know your numbers. Figure out, I've got a lot of videos talking about this, right? Figure out what houses are going for in the area. Figure out what it is going to cost to repair the property. Do your math, right? Figure out what your ARV is, right? Your after repaired value. Figure out what your MAO is, your maximum allowable offer. Make them an offer. It is just a numbers game. Get these properties under contract and sell the contract, right? You don't got to be the end buyer. You don't got to have great credit. You don't got to have any of that. But here's what it is going to allow you to do. It is going to allow you to start understanding the real estate industry, to start looking at the comparable properties, to start understanding, what a good deal is versus a bad deal, to start understanding the areas of your town or your city that are the good areas versus the bad areas. And so that is what I would do going into 2021. If I was somebody that wanted to get into real estate, I would definitely take advantage of wholesaling. Wholesaling is an industry that I think is massively, in my opinion, like undersaturated. Now, there's probably a lot of wholesalers out there that are gonna be mad at me for making this video, so I guess just smash the like button for the algorithm. But man, I just think that there's gonna be, there could be a lot of people that could make a lot more money doing this, and if anything, it'll just open a lot of doors in the real estate industry in general for you to start figuring out what deals would be good deals for you to just like buy and hold, as a rental property, or maybe it'll allow you to make some money to where you can maybe flip some of your own properties. And ultimately, there's so many different avenues that obviously you can go in the real estate world, which is why so many millionaires are made through real estate investing. But I would just encourage you to really look into it. Drop into the comments section if you want me to elaborate more on how to wholesale, what are the best marketing methods to talk to sellers. I'll link a lot of this down below. How to find cash buyers, how to do this virtually if you're not in a market that, maybe has a lot of distressed sellers. How to do the contract, how to write the contract, basically how to do this and do it well and be a respected wholesaler in the wholesaling community. So it can be done. A lot of people are definitely going to do it. I would really encourage you to do it. I think it is a phenomenal way to make money moving forward, and a great way to get into the real estate investing world. Guys, if you're brand new to my channel, I would really appreciate it if you would just smash the like button, okay? Obviously, consider subscribing. I'm typically talking about real estate, money, the stock market, business, and everything like that. I would really appreciate it if you like these videos, and I'll look forward to seeing you in a future video.